The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, my name is Jillian Schaefer and I'm the Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Getting the Most Value Out of Office 365, presented by Eric Ruppert of SWK Technologies. A little housekeeping before we get started. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise down. However, you can submit any questions you have throughout the webinar. To submit a question, look for the questions section in your GoToWebinar. We will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. We are recording this presentation and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees as well as to those who registered but were not able to attend. Please take a moment during the presentation to answer our 2 poll questions. With that said, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to attend our webinar. We're here to help you get the most out of your software solutions and help you find an easier way to run your business by providing you software and industry knowledge, tools, and support whenever you need it. So whether you're here doing research for a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask any questions throughout the webinar. Lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels. So we encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Eric.
Thank you so much, Jolene. And thank you once again to everyone for joining the webinar today. We'll get started right away with jumping into a quick overview of the agenda that we'll be following through today. We're going to be talking about the Office 365 suite of tools. We'll explain what that is, the licensing, and how we see it being leveraged throughout organizations, small and large, to improve cloud adoption, drive efficiencies, and increase collaboration inside of those organizations. We'll compare some of those license types, available security tools, and collaboration tools to see what you might be missing and really unlock that true value from your Office 365 suite of services. Throughout the webinar, please feel free, as Jolene had mentioned, to throw any of your questions into the chat box and we'll address them at the end. Now let's get started. Once again, I am Eric Ruppert, Senior Solution Architect for the Managed Cloud Services Division of SWK. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions. We're going to go a high-level overview of SWK. We're a nationally recognized MSP and solutions provider in the top 200 MSPs according to the channel code this year. On to the fun part. We're going to talk through some Office 365 suite of services and how it evolved throughout the years, including some of those key applications and what that means for your business and what you can get out of the Office suite of tools. Just this last October, Office 365 turned 10 years old. It marks a pivotal rebranding for Office, where they changed a lot of their service offerings from that Office 365 nomenclature to Microsoft 365. We'll start by highlighting how the suite began. Included some of those crowd favorites that you see in the 2010 box, the web applications for Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, SharePoint, Exchange, and Skype. These services are pretty typical household names today. They allowed you to do web and file storage, Exchange hosted emails, Skype being the communication platform that predated Teams. The creation of that Office 365 product offering stemmed from the need to compete with the Google G Suite, which was threatening the Office suite, which was a key Microsoft product offering. By offering no to low cost applications inside of a cloud SaaS solution, they were able to gain back that market share. As they began rolling out their solution, it was noted that some additional services were probably required to create the value add that they were looking for. This included OneDrive, organizational social media and social networking through Yammer, analytics and business intelligence through Power BI, and automation and application design actually through Power Apps. One other thing that was included is the Microsoft Intune suite, which is a complement or a replacement for Microsoft Group Policy today to provide you that workstation, endpoint management, and organizational controls. These solutions rolled out in or around 2013. The solutions and the backend configuration tools continue to improve tremendously year over year. They're branching into authentication, unified control, security, all of these things that are becoming a core focus as we move to a more remote workforce inside of a COVID era. A revolutionary change came with the introduction of Teams, a unified and competitive solution for chat, video calling, meetings, and it was made to compete with Slack in the market, actually. This created a replacement for Skype, however, so Skype was announced to be phased out of organizations, committed for 2019, which drove many organizations to adopt the replacement for Skype and essentially forcing them into the Office 365 suite. When we come to 2020, the strategic marketing initiative for Microsoft 365 rebranding did come up and became a point of confusion for a lot of people, which may be why some of you are here today. Hopefully we can clear up some of that confusion throughout the webinar and really show the value that you can find through these applications. The Office Suite includes a number of core applications. This includes the web and desktop versions of these, so you get always up-to-date versions of household products that you're used to from the Microsoft suite of services. Things like Outlook for your email, Word for document processing, Excel for spreadsheets, and PowerPoint for presentations, just like the one that you're viewing right now. They make up the tools that most users see day in and day out. Two key additions that are included throughout the Microsoft suite are Access and Publisher. Access is a database management tool that allows you to handle large numbers of line entries, essentially. We're looking at some of the accountants in the room with those 55,000 line long Excel sheets. And then Publisher provides you newsletter tools and email marketing tools to create professional and polished documents to deliver to customers, partners, or just to put on your website. Some other notable additions to the core services that are offered are OneNote, which is a comprehensive notebook solution. It has endless sorting and organizing tools that people find really useful. Microsoft Forms, which creates fast quizzes or surveys that you can provide to either students in the educational space or customers in the business space. So appointment scheduling is available through Microsoft Bookings, which allows you to do things like run a haircut with the Microsoft suite, and then video conferencing and chat with Teams. This is a sampling of just some of the key things that Microsoft can do for your business. There's unlimited possibilities with the additions of Power Apps and Flow, which are tools for customizing applications and providing automation behind the scenes to make your business that much more efficient. So we're gonna move into what Microsoft 365 is today. That's the rebranding of Office 365 for small business and personal users. It was previously reserved for enterprise plans that included what was known as Windows Enterprise licensing. So it allowed you to get a updated version of Windows 10 included with your plan, and it was an upgrade to that enterprise solution. It's no longer the case. It's instead the baseline service offering to create that Microsoft branding, and it can be acquired for any of the Microsoft Cloud suite of products. Included in the M365 plans, we have some of the staples that you recognize from the last slide: Teams, Exchange, OneDrive, and SharePoint, along with some of those typical desktop versions of applications in those business standard and business premium plans. You can edit and manipulate documents just like you're used to on your desktop from anywhere on up to 5 computers, actually, which is a pretty powerful reason to move towards the Office 365 licensing if you're using multiple endpoints for your users in your organization. These solutions stay constantly up to date. They natively integrate with Exchange Online, Teams, and SharePoint so that you can provide that comprehensive and consistent experience throughout your organization. Now, you may look at this and wonder what is really included in that business premium. Why would I pick that over the business standard? And it comes down to a couple of key things here. So that Intune and Azure Information Protection there in the bottom half of the premium offering provides you unified management, simplified security, policies, and retention policies for all of your users within your organization so that you can do things that would traditionally require an Active Directory server inside of your office but completely managed and monitored in the cloud. So you can remove that reliance on your physical infrastructure and move more to a cloud native solution. There's a long list of included features in all of these, but typically for small and medium businesses, it's that management of users and workstations and cloud at the basic level. One of the big sticking points that we see when customers are choosing to move to premium over standard is actually the need for a service called shared computer activation. Computer activation is a part of Business Premium that allows you to use your Office suite on a remote desktop server. So if you're accessing a server remotely to provide you with access to your business applications, such as SWK Secure Cloud, or in Microsoft's public cloud Azure, that gives you the right to use the Office suite there instead of just on your local workstation. These Office 365 or M365 plans are only for organizations up to 300 users. You can mix and match. You can use 10 business basics, 50 business premium, and 25 business standard, and there's no limitations except for that comprehensive 300 user cap, at which point you move into the enterprise licensing space, but you can still maintain those those M365 business plans while filling in the rest of your need with enterprise level plans. This has a number of cost-effective ways so that you can budget for Microsoft 365 no matter what your goals or budget are. Now that we have that small foundation in the difference between the various M365 plans, we want to dive into some of those common solutions between the three. This includes the Teams, SharePoint, and OneDrive applications. These are collaboration, file sharing, and file sync solutions offered by the Microsoft Online tools. Teams is an intuitive chat and calling platform that allows you to add public telephone interconnections and group conferencing for audio conferencing, along with countless add-ons and add-ins. It acts as the hub of the Office 365 suite, allowing you to share files, provide context, and easily distribute and maintain internal websites, essentially, that integrate with Azure Active Directory for dynamic org charts, all without needing to purchase additional licensing or maintain a separate document for your organizational chart, for instance. Teams leverages your SharePoint environment on the back end. So SharePoint is the file storage and security piece to Teams. It allows you to easily group those users and provide granular level permissions to files and instances within your Teams environment from an administrative standpoint. SharePoint is typically seen as document storage and collaboration, but it is endlessly configurable. You create dynamic internal websites, integrated automated lists that pull from multiple sources, and the ability to place applications that you create in Microsoft Power Apps right into the platform to use as you go through your day. And finally, we can touch on OneDrive. OneDrive is a file sync and sharing solution, typically connected or competing with Dropbox or Box in the market today. Each user gets a terabyte of data included with their licensing in most cases, and it provides them a fast and easy way to expand your laptop and desktop storage. By automatically managing those files based on recent usage, so if you haven't touched them in 30 days, they get sent back up to the cloud. You can keep your files that you absolutely need on your computer and download those others as you need them. This requires an internet connection, but in today's connected world, what doesn't? That same technology can be used in conjunction with SharePoint, actually, to create a type of file share for your users. So very similar to an on-premise file share, you can place files in SharePoint, provide those granular user permissions and security settings, and then integrate it directly to OneDrive to place an icon on the side of your file explorer to access those files as a company, manage them, and download and upload them automatically. All of these are powerful catalysts for getting your organization into the cloud and simplifying your technology stack. So with all this migration to the cloud, many people are probably appropriately concerned about InfoSec, so your information security. This is conveniently integrated into Microsoft 365 as they're aware of this need, with any level of compliance being supported and manageable for the most part inside of the Microsoft Cloud. From Exchange encryption, auditing, archiving, monitoring, we can provide that comprehensive email security footprint that you might be looking for, and for a small additional cost. It's even possible to prevent data loss or to implement data loss prevention natively inside of the cloud, or even on your endpoints through Microsoft. We can discuss some of these add-ons at a high level in a later slide, but the depth and breadth of these security solutions is capable for organizations of any size to meet their compliance needs, including HIPAA, PCI, NIST, CMMC, FINRA, along with many, many regional and industry-specific compliances. Combining the power of these suites of security services with the power of Intune for endpoint management, you can create a comprehensive data integrity and security practice entirely through your Office 365 suite in most cases. There may be an additional cost for those licenses, but if you're required to be compliant, the costs are far outweighed by that convenience and assurance you get through automatic reporting and comprehensive dashboards to see problems and alleviate them quickly. So talking about those add-ons that exist in the Microsoft 365 world, we're going to see some of the tools that are at our fingertips here and see how it might be difficult to believe that there's even more inside of the Microsoft 365 suite of services. Over the next two slides, we're going to quickly touch on some of those add-on services and enterprise solutions that you can take advantage of in your organization. But we're not going to get too deep. Some of them can be overwhelming, and probably not everyone on the call is looking to understand everything about these. We're going to drive awareness and prompt some of those deeper questions. We'll start with the simple one, which is voice. Many people are looking for VoIP providers and are unaware that Microsoft Teams can actually be a voice provider for you. It has the flexibility to provide you phone system and calling plan styles to give you that integrated cloud-based phone system you might be looking for. If you have your own phone system in a larger organization with a premise-based exchange on site, you can even integrate directly into Teams using that exchange and take advantage of your existing phone numbers and phone lines to create an inexpensive calling plan option for your organization. Some of the more feature-rich add-ons that exist in security include the Microsoft Defender suite of tools, which includes that advanced threat protection, endpoint detection and response, and identity management and protection tools that we talked about on the last slide. These add-ons enable organizations to quickly improve security posture by watching their cloud, emails, and workstations for any signs of bad actors that are coming up, and then automatically take action using a fully staffed SOC inside of Microsoft's ecosystem. At the end of the webinar, if you're interested in learning any more about security, please just make sure to let us know in the poll. And finally, we wanted to quickly go through some of the typical application add-ons that we see inside of the Microsoft 365 suite. This includes Project, a fully functional project management tool, Visio, which is a technical documentation tool for figures and diagrams, which competes with tools such as Lucidchart, Power BI Pro for hosted data analytics and business intelligence, and then Sharepoint Syntax, which is an AI-powered analytics and metadata tagging tool that leverages your SharePoint to create data lakes inside of your organization. And finally, Workplace Analytics, which sends you little notes inside of your email about how you're doing and enables you to provide quick context for your coworkers and managers, which will allow you to enable success inside of your organization. As mentioned, we wanted to quickly demonstrate some of the available licensing in Office 365 in case you are someone that falls into one of these categories. We're not going to dive too deep, but definitely makes sense to have this knowledge in your pocket in case you do need it. So we'll start with that academic licensing, which is known as A licensing in Microsoft's world. This includes a large number of automatic add-ons to provide a comprehensive solution for students and staff to manage a school environment. It enables those schools to effectively provide Office access to students and faculty for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, but does not include desktop applications in the free tier of that solution. So it's a pretty powerful free tool. We also have the full enterprise suite of services. It has no limits on users and includes additional security and management solutions by default. It enables larger enterprises to manage infrastructure and users and is known as e-licensing in Microsoft. There is also an F licensing inside of the enterprise suite, which enables you to provide frontline workers with pared down versions of Office tools and services to give retail, healthcare, and field technicians email addresses, for instance, or just access to SharePoint without needing the high overhead of Office suite licenses. Finally, there are some government licensing solutions. They lag behind general release schedules so that if you're in a highly compliant organization, it makes sure that all of those things meet the compliancy needs before being implemented into Office, especially if you need to meet DoD or government regulations without needing to constantly fight into that world. It provides a lot of those solutions by default. It's a tiered solution just like all the others. You have a 1, 3, and 5 tier, except in the government where you only have 3 and 5. I've noted the naming conventions here on the slide as well for each of the solutions, just to note the inconsistency and where that confusion can come in. So for academic and enterprise, they're Office 365, or in enterprise's case, there's also a Microsoft 365 version of those solutions, which does delineate between whether or not you get the Windows enterprise version of Windows 10. And finally, for government, it's Microsoft 365, despite government and academic being very similar in their product offerings. So finally, I just wanted to recap SWK Managed Cloud Services. We've walked through some of those high-level details about the Office 365 suite and what you could be missing. I wanted to let you know that SWK is available to provide a helping hand if needed. We have an IT consulting and services division that can help you with any problems, requests, that can help you to improve performance or security, or just get the most out of your Office 365 suite. Did want to make note, thank you for joining our webinar on Office 365. As a special offer to everyone here today, if you're looking for Office licensing or just to see what's available to you, we are offering 5% off of, or up to 5% off of your Office and Microsoft 365 subscriptions today. So please let us know after the webinar or just reach out in the poll. Then I'll pass it back to Jolene for a poll.
Thank you, Eric. I'll now launch our first poll question. Please answer the poll question that appears on your screen. And we're interested in knowing what would you be interested in learning more about in future Office 365 webinars? Would it be the different applications, maintaining compliance, collaborating with employees, or security features? We'll give that just a couple more seconds. Perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer our poll.
Thank you so much, Jolene. And then we also have one more poll question here that Jolene will send out.
Yep, thanks, Eric. I'll launch this and we can go right into Q&A. So thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, please enter them into the questions section of your GoToWebinar. And just a reminder, everyone, we do have a subject matter expert here. This is a great opportunity to have your questions answered in real time. And we did have a few come in during the presentation, Eric. The first being, you mentioned mixing Microsoft 365 and enterprise plans. What is the benefit of mixing Microsoft 365 with enterprise versus just going with the enterprise plan if you have more than 300 employees?
That's a great question. Thanks so much. So one of the biggest advantages that we see is actually the Microsoft 365 business plans are a little less expensive than the enterprise plans. So you get some of those key features without needing to spend the huge outlay of the enterprise solution.
And we have another. How can we tell what we already have with our current licensing?
So to get your current licensing and understanding what licenses you currently purchase, you can either look at your invoice, or anyone who's a company administrator in your Office 365 tenant can actually log in and see their licenses and understand how they're assigned actually to your individual users.
And we have another. If we already have Office 365, is there potential to save money by going through you?
Yep, as noted, we are offering a special rate today. So reach out to us, let us know, and we can definitely see what we can do to provide you with that discount pricing. You can either reach out to the info@swktech.com email that you'll see on the screen shortly, or your dedicated account manager if you have one. Make sure to mention the webinar.
And we have a couple more that have come through. We're currently looking into OneDrive. We are using Box right now. What would be the pros to switching to OneDrive? Do I still have the option to share links to files?
Absolutely. So the OneDrive versus Box debate is pretty frequent that we see in the organization today. So OneDrive provides a free version of that if you already are using that M365 licensing. So it provides a fast and cost-effective solution for you. You can still share those links to the files. That's completely integrated and automated. And you can also create organizational policies to limit that access as you need to either only internal users or external and internal users, which is a big step up from some of the feature sets inside of Box.
And we have another. How do I find out more information on Microsoft 365 Business Voice?
Absolutely. So if you're looking to understand that business voice, if you indicated that in our poll question, we'll be most likely hosting another webinar for that voice section, or you can reach out to your CAM account manager or that info@swktech.com, and we can definitely have a one-on-one conversation just to go through the features and understand what is available in that Microsoft 365 voice offering.
And we have one more. What is the difference between SharePoint and OneDrive?
Absolutely. This is a big point of confusion. So OneDrive and SharePoint are very different in their approach, but end up having very overlapping needs inside of an organization. So you can think of OneDrive as an integrated file sync and semi-backup solution on your workstations. So it provides you the ability to have your files stored in the cloud while also giving you personalized storage for yourself. SharePoint is really more of an organizational wide solution. So it provides you that complete access to everyone in your organization to administrate on the back end and give them individualized access to files, folders, and sites inside of your SharePoint environment. It does natively integrate with the OneDrive client, so it shows up on the left side of your file explorer, just like OneDrive, but provides you those enterprise level security measures so that you can share larger files between your entire organization.
Perfect, and that looks like all the questions we have today, so give me 1 minute as I take back screen control. Perfect. Thank you so much, Eric, for your informative presentation and for taking the time to be here today. For more information on Office 365, please reach out to your SWK Customer Account Manager. Thank you everyone for attending our webinar. Have a wonderful rest of your day.